Thank you, Chairman Merkley, and thank you to our ranking member for continuing to focus on the issue of plastics, because it is an unnatural substance and does not biodegrade and just breaks down to the smaller and smaller pieces. We are seeing it increasingly in things like women's breast milk, in things like the contents of a baby's diaper, in things like raindrops falling through the sky in Colorado. So focusing on preventing this and also understanding what the potential harms are of all that microplastic and all that plastic waste, I think is a very valuable use of the committee's and subcommittee's time. So my plaudits to Senator Merkley, for whom this is a great cause and passion. Ms. Schmid, Senator Sullivan and I have done a couple of plastics bills, Save Our Seas and Save Our Seas 2.0, and we're in the process of working on Save Our Seas 3.0 right now. And one of the areas in which I expect we will likely focus is the area of recycling and how spectacularly unsuccessful ordinary recycling presently is, with less than 10% of what you put in your blue bin actually ending up recycling, with less than 2% of recycled content in new plastics, and trying to figure out how to make recycling work, I think is going to be a very important piece of this. So I would love to have your advice on what you think the best things are that the federal government could do to promote more effective recycling and to eliminate sham recycling. And if you have a quick response, I'd welcome it now, but I'd also encourage you to take that back as a question for the record and give a more fulsome response if you would care to.
Thank you, Senator Whitehouse, for the question. It is a topic that would require a bit more sustained responses, so I will take it back.
Why don't we take that? That'd be fine. And in your sector of the economy, Mr. DeBose, are there incentives or other things that the government could do to encourage more reuse? And in particular, can we get rid of peanuts? Those damn little foam things?
Right, right. Make reusable peanuts, that could be it's a nice idea. We should talk after the hearing.
Can't think of a good second use for the damn things, but anyway.
No question about it. The one thing we have to look at is reuse can be very complex in terms of the requirements of that full system to work. And many times it's an investment. Companies are putting capital forward to produce a pool of reusable assets, or they're changing their processes internally and requires additional manpower or streamlining of operations in order to make it work. And so it's an investment in process change.
Well, do me a favor and make us some recommendations, if you would, on how we can support those process changes, because I think it's a win-win situation if you can get over the initial hurdle of the investment required to make the process changes.
Yeah, thank you.
For my last question, Ms. Meng, welcome. Thank you for being here. The other bill that I'm working on is called the Reduce Act, and that would put a fee on virgin plastic that is designated for single-use plastic products, because at the moment, one of the things that is holding back recycling in that area is that it's cheaper to make it new than it is to get it out of recycling. And it's very hard to convince economically motivated entities like corporations to do things that are against their economic interests. So it's a policy choice that we have to make to put recycled plastic and new manufactured plastic onto the same footing. That is the definition of what economists would call a negative externality, that by virtue of using the new plastic, you're adding more plastic to the system, making life more dangerous, adding more waste to the ocean, adding more waste to the system, and putting more of a burden on people. And if there's no charge for that, why would, it's hard to, you're letting people getting away with something that economists would say they should not be allowed to get away with. So if you're a pure market economist, you would want to address this problem. What is MacArthur's advice in this area?
Thank you. Excellent question and kind of excellent thoughts on the topic. I think you're entirely correct that we need to be internalizing these externalities and bringing ourselves to kind of a level playing field. A fee on virgin plastic designated kind of for single-use plastics, I think, is a logical way to do that. There are countless tools that we can use, but the reality is that we need to be doing something to level the playing field.
Take a look at the Reduce Act and get back to us with any comments or thoughts you might have, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Terrific. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for this. Again, I think a lot of American corporations have developed a partial market economy business model as to, free market when it comes to their pricing and selling of their product, but passing on to the public, socializing the externalities that they may cause. That just isn't market theory. And the selective use of market theory has caused a lot of harm, whether it's in carbon emissions or in plastic waste or across the board. And thank you for continuing your focus in this area.
Thank you very much, and we're looking forward to, is it Save Our Seas? What's the name? Save Our Seas 3.0, bipartisan collaboration. And I know those of us who live on the coast, and I think you were doing that with Senator Sullivan, right? And I know Alaska, we hear a lot about their concerns about the Pacific Gyre and the amount of plastic waste that washes up, as well as the...
We pick it up on our shores with garbage bags. They have to pick it up on their shores with front-end loaders and dumpsters because of the Pacific